All right, so we're here at Ronin Fermentation Project. So this is the 7-barrel, 3-vessel brew house we built to...
I like to call it a 1,000-liter because I've been able to get about 8.5 barrels at around 15 Plato on it.
So we're here with the 1,000-liter. Yeah, me and Charlie designed this together. You know, we've had a lot of our basic standards that we have carved out over the years that have made a lot of brewers happy, or we'll see on this system here now. And there's been a few things that Charlie had us design specifically for his needs. And I think we've come up with a pretty awesome little system that's proven to kick some ass for you.
Yeah, I find the Brewhouse is extremely universal. We operate in the realm of classical beer, but we also do some highly experimental things, and find that this Brewhouse is able to fit all of our needs within our budget. A lot of breweries are going to be like, hey, why didn't you do this and this and this on this Brewhouse? Well, we had to pay cash for this, and for a lot of the brewing equipment, and we felt that working with a Brewhouse partner like BrewBilt and Jeff was more important, and I sacrificed a few things for other things that some brewers are going to be like, what a dickhead, he doesn't have rakes and plows. Well, I got big shoulders, I can still stir for a while.
The rakes and plows are right here,
yeah.
Dave. So, I mean, up front, just seeing the brew house, you know, as you walk up to it, our diversion panel. So anywhere that you're sending wort to or from is going to happen right here, which makes a pretty quick and easy setup. And they're done in sequential order. So you always know the next process is the next one over as it goes. So you're not switching here to here to here. And again, we have the control panel as well. So there being a large control panel up top, this is the small remote that does every function that the large one does. So it brings it to your fingertips. And mainly the idea is we wanted the brewers to not have to run up and down the stairs all the time. Not only is it kind of dangerous, it just wears people out. Being able to run the entire brew house from standing right here, other than pouring in hops and, you know, and checking a few things. That's the reason why we stick with this design. There is one more panel here that finishes one off, and this is for his Whirlpool. So another diversion panel for the Whirlpool.
It's another thing is we actually kind of built this panel to be kind of transformable. We can, at some point in time, actually remove all of these vessels and put new ones in and change the needs of me as a brewer. So if I ever find the need to want to upgrade, I'm not buying a whole new brew house. I am switching some hard piping, some labels, and the vessels.
Yeah, so we've talked in the future of Charlie's growth and swapping from this size vessels into maybe, you know, that are 1,000-liter.
Yeah.
Into possibly getting into 10, 15, or 20, depending on what he feels like his growth needs to be at that time. But he'll be able to leave the deck here and all the controls that are in it.
We also have one extra piece on this panel that's not hard piped yet, which will go to wherever a future cool ship location is. That way everything is hard piped. One thing I really like about this system is that it allows me to push deaerated water through my panel, through my heat exchanger, so I can chase sanitary wort with sanitary water to minimize my losses. We have very large dump ports that are air actuated on all the vessels, so cleaning out and making a multiple brew day, even on a smaller brew house, is extremely easy for me. I'm the only one that works here, so those things are really important to me. Other pieces of automation as we get going are other parts of the brew house that make us be able to hit an average of 85 to 88% efficiency.
On a hand stir.
On hand stirring.
Yeah. Let's move over here real quick. And then one thing is also is the heat exchanger is completely piped in. And you've got temperature back there as well on the outlet of the heat exchanger, which comes right off of this panel.
I also have the ability to knock out off of the kettle or the third vessel, Whirlpool or float tank, however we're using it. So if you are a kettle sour brewer, or you are a brewer that is trying to tie something up for a little while for some process, no matter what, you have the usability to not have your brew house go down for a day. You can move back and forth between vessels in the heat X, which is pretty key.
On this side, looking under the deck, we have our famous wort grant here, made out of Pyrex. The whole point is, not only does it look cool, but it serves a purpose of being able to really see the clarity of the wort. I've even had some brewers add ingredients right into this tank. And there's a flow meter, of course. We love flow meters. I think all the brewers have really.
Yeah, my big thing with the flow meter, since this is a gravity feed grant and it can have an auto function, so you can walk away, which means it has 2 sensors and it's going to kick on and off for you. So if you're busy and you run over to do another CIP or something, or check on your cellarman that's messed something up today, you can go and do that. We have a diaphragm valve.
Does your cellarman do that?
Well, I'm the cellarman, so yeah, I guess I do. Diaphragm valve allows us to control the flow. I have our flow meter with the correct, turbulence ratings in between to allow me to show my gallons or liters per minute of my runoff speed. So in my ingredient sheets, when I go to my Vorloff or something like that, part of that recipe allows me to show the gallons per minute of my runoff. It also allows me, if I'm making some big beer or something with a bunch of, fan in, or, high dextrinous wort, something that might give me a stuck mash, that flow meter is gonna start showing me that problem before it occurs, if I'm paying attention. It's very easy for me to come grab wort samples, pH samples, like Jeff said, add adjuncts if needed.
Yeah, and these
very versatile.
These flow meters are tied into the control panels as well, so all the functions are visible up there, and reset buttons are on the panels as well. They do total flow, gallons per minute, gallons per hour, temperature. They multiple functions.
Yeah, so you actually know if you're hitting your knockout, but also your total volume going into the kettle. We're not relying on a plastic sight glass. That looks like crap.
No. Stainless.
Yeah.
And you can, again, mash tun here. Charlie really, one of the features he really wanted, and I love too, and so does my crew at the shop, is building this high up off the ground, as you can tell here. That allows, Charlie really wanted it for cleaning processes. It makes it easy to get down here and clean anything out. Also, any maintenance or anything that has to be done, it's just easy to get in here. We do that whenever we can. If it's a big question for me with brewers is, what's your ceiling height? I hate it when they say 12 feet, and it really strains us to design a system to fit in there. Well, we always do it, but it's nice to have up off the ground here and have the space.
It also has, 4 entry points underground or under screen CIP, which is beautiful for clean out at the end of the day. And I also have the ability to boil high dextrinous starchy wort and add it back in if I need to.
And the other thing is it allows you to backflow if for some reason you get a stuck mash, and break that mash up.
Yep.
So here's the main control panel here. So Charlie wanted a little fun bling on the front of the screen there.
Everyone puts their logo.
Yeah.
And every brewery I go to, it's like XYZ Brewing Company, and they're super proud of it. And I get it, but have some fun with it. have some integrity.
Our programmer loved that little part there. So tell them, Charlie, why? Everyone knows. Probably one of the questions is why not the automated, rakes and plow system, and going with the hand stir?
Well, so for me, and a million breweries are going to argue about this, but for me it was about how deep I could cut into the bed. When I wanted rakes and plows, I wanted ones that were adjustable, and it really just came down to a money thing for me. Hand stirring for me at this level with this amount of grain gives me a little more control over my lauter, and I think helps with my efficiency. And you know, if I need to one day have one of those tanks brought in, it's pretty easy for me to have this removed because of the way BrewBilt designed the system, and have another one brought in. Another reason is we do some kind of low dissolved oxygen brewing, and I was really cautious about how I wanted the grain handled, and felt that some of the rake systems that other companies had made that I've worked for in the past beat the grain up a little too much. So it was one of those things where I was just trying to be as gentle as possible. We also sometimes purge nitrogen gas into our mash tun while we're brewing to keep oxygen levels out, and you can't seal off a mash tun if you have rakes and plows.
And you're getting your efficiencies on this is
we've been
up in the 80s?
80 in the 80s, 85 to 88 was the highest we've gotten so far. So, you know, we're kind of a little all over. We're, you know, playing, one of our things is grain crush. We are currently waiting to get an RMS mill. Once we have that, I feel like our efficiencies will go up. We're pretty obsessive about mash pH, and
you guys are 5 batches in?
Yeah, we're 5 batches in.
So still pretty young on the system.
Yep.
So efficiencies will probably get a little bit better. You'll tighten things up. Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
So yeah, start here at the mash tun, mash lauter combo tank anyway. Grist hydrator, which Charlie's not using at the moment, but when the mill comes in, we'll have all that hooked up, the slide gate and all that. We do have sparge and hydrator water here, which comes off to this system. This is the water manifold. So this is where all your water comes in and mixes for the sparge and hydrator. You know, it's been called the, it's kind of the Mario, Mario system here with the, all the piping and stuff. So, really, so you get your hot and cold liquor come in here depending on if it's coming from a hot liquor tank, city water, or you got a cold liquor tank. It's all hooked in here. Hot water comes in here. You can cool it down with the cold water in and temper your water that way.
And then our hot water is obviously controlled by pump VFD.
Yeah, so you have control over the speed of your hot liquor as well coming in. Another flow meter you see here, so it works in conjunction with this solenoid valve here. So these two guys work together. On the panel here, you've got a liquor total, so you can type in, say you want 318 gallons of water for your hydrator, you know. You type that in, you hit go, this opens up, allows the water to flow. As soon as the flow meter counts 318 gallons, shuts the valve off automatically. So this is one of the little areas where I think automation is worth spending a little bit of money on. This allows a brewer to walk away, do other processes, get ready for the next process, and not have to worry that they're gonna overfill on their hydration or their sparge. And we do all of our temp probes right at the entry point. So you're really getting the temperature, which is up here on the screen.
You're getting your true temp.
It's not
after all the loss. It's
not cooling as it goes through there, and then you end up 3 to 4 degrees off. So it helps with our efficiencies and be really tight on the temperature coming in. And of course, we use all IFM equipment for all of our probes and any of our sensors.
Extremely easy to change out.
Great quality, easy to deal with.
Don't need an electrician if something breaks down, because it's just, I've actually never had one break down in years in the field of seeing them at hundreds of breweries. They're fantastic. Another thing I like about these IFM probes is they're lit up, so you can visually see if they're working while you're brewing.
So if you're having an issue with you're not seeing your temp, you can always look here and see. We always aim these at the brewer so you can tell, you know, try to pinpoint where the issue is. But their stuff's bulletproof and they back their stuff up really well. So moving on, so we have a direct fire kettle.
we chose not to go with steam because we're in a rural area. A lot of manufacturers are going to be like, you need a steam system for this and this and this. We still do step mashes through infusion, and we can bring wort back in and boil it and bring it over. Is it a true decoction? No, it's not, but you know, I feel like our beer quality speaks for itself and the type of brewing that we're currently doing. Also, it was a budgetary concern. The average boiler costs $40,000 US to install after you've purchased the boiler.
And then the piping and all that's like an extra 50 to can be up to 60 grand.
So this is one thing a lot of companies like to not tell you. They go, buy steam, it's way cheaper because you know, they don't have to build a firebox. For me, I knew that already from installing lots of breweries all over the place. Like I said, we were under some certain budgets, so we felt for our processes we could make beer the best we could with what we had right here, and I feel like as you get our beer out on the market, you'll understand that more and more. We're still able to bring wort over and boil it and bring it back. We have some pretty complex hard pipe systems. We have the ability to take full mash out and boil it if we really need to. But we're really happy. The kettle heats up very quickly. We actually had to dial it back. We hook up a manometer on and really kind of fine-tune the gas flow. We're also extremely rural, so we're on propane, not natural gas, so everything becomes more expensive.
You gotta have a trucker come out, fill up your propane tank, and yeah. And that is definitely talking about the differences between steam and direct fire. Is I always tell customers, you know, if they're really wanting to get into steam, you know, you're going to be paying anywhere from 80 to an extra 100 grand slapped on top of the bill at Brewhouse. So there is a cost thing to weigh there, and to really see, you know, is that right for you or not? You know,
maybe that's round two when you have enough money to build another brew house and go a little bit bigger, but you have to start somewhere. We've
built these, well, they're really, we call them direct fire because that's what the industry understands, the terminology, but it's really an indirect fire system, meaning that there's no flame touching the kettle. And I think that's one of the problems that a lot of brewers ask. Well, if we go direct fire, we hear a lot about scorching, caramelization, and that normally you would look at it like almost like a direct fire would be like your pot at home with a flame underneath it. So you're heating the metal, it will scorch. The way these are done, there's a firebox, there's a huge chamber underneath, and the flame comes in the side, heats up the chamber, and just heats that way. There's no direct flame on the metal. We go a little step further. We do baffles inside. We actually heat all the way up the sidewall as well. So the entire liquid level is heated, which gets them almost as close as a steam kettle as far as efficiency. So
yeah, we have a 7% evaporation rate. It's been fantastic. We distill out VDKs and throw them through a UV spec, and we're currently sitting at like in between 0.01 and 0.05 grams a liter, which is in the ASBC range. So
you're getting what you need out of it.
Yeah.
And I think a big thing is getting it, once you've filled it after sparge, getting it to boil. We're kind of in that 15 to 20 minute range, depending on the size of the kettle. So it's a pretty quick turnaround. We do 75% headspace in the kettles as well. This gives the brewer a lot of breathing room, and again, allowing you to step away from the process for a second if you have to go do something else, which is constant.
I've actually double mashed once and put a lot in here and made almost double the amount.
Yeah, so I mean that's what I ended up finding out is our brewers saying we are
spray balls deep,
putting like a 3/4 batch in there on top of the one batch that's already, and we're filling a larger fermenter in a much shorter amount of time.
Yeah.
But we really just put that in there just to give the brewer some peace of mind. So we're not over boiling.
The Brewhouse pumps are Bow-Peller pumps, so they're low shear pumps. Our pump over in between our kettle and our whirlpool is extremely gentle. We don't see a lot of aeration on the hot side because of that centrifugal pump design.
It's a unique impeller for sure.
Our whirlpool, moving to the whirlpool, we have a water jacketed.
Yeah, let's move over here.
We have a water jacket system. We were able to take our boiling work down to 80 Celsius, or for you guys that like to work in Fahrenheit, 184.
So it's a tube and shell design, heat exchanger. So when he's doing his whirlpooling,
Takes about 5 minutes to cool it down.
you want to get it down to about 160 to 170, right around there.
Yeah, it just depends on what we're doing. We lower it to a lot of different temperatures for different things. We've actually ran the glycol loop into it before and taken our lager and brought it down to 34 degrees and bubbled air up through it and used the vessel as a float tank so we could get a cold break precipitation. So for us, it's not just a whirlpool. This is a utility vessel. We use it for a lot of different things. If you're trying to do a turbid mash on this system, you can actually use this vessel as a holding vessel to hold on to runnings, to bring back over to the kettle to boil, then to bring back over to the mash, because of the manifold design and the ability to send anything anywhere to any vessel, which is really cool.
Yeah. And then having the third vessel really helps when you're doing multiple batches in a day, doing double, triple, even quad batches possibly.
So by myself right now, I'm double batching in, like 9 to 10 hours. And that's with me answering the phone a lot.
We didn't install a telephone system on the control panel. And, well, we had to add in the fourth feature here.
Yeah.
The fire pole.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The best part.
You're up.
There you have it.
Yeah.
See if I can do it with one hand.
Yeah, I still need it bolted to the ground, actually, but...